Today I'm in Border Honey and I'm going to find out how they make queens. Hello, I'm Griff Rees, welcome to Gwynny Griffith. Here we talk everything beekeeping, farming, countryside living. Now we do reviews as well. Now I am in Border Honey up here in North Wales on the Welsh and English border, and I've got Alex, Nikki and Ross, and they're going to teach me how they make queens. Now that's one thing you know from following my channel, I've got no experience in producing queens. I outsource that and actually outsource some of it to Border Honey for the last 2 years. Yep. Yeah. 2 years we've been getting queens from them, and I tell you what, the queens are fantastic. I really like the Danish line, Buckfast. I think that's one of the best lines probably in the world, certainly in Europe, and Border Honey specialise in those queens. So let's get into the video and find out how they mass produce queens for the UK market. So I'm down in the queen yard here, and I tell you what, look how nice that looks. Panes, double brood nukes, everything Border Honey does is on Langstroth, so the kit is slightly different to what I've got. But basically this is a queen yard. They keep some of the breeder queens here, so the queens that come from Ivan Nilsson, the queens come from him, as I mentioned, an excellent breeder. Some of the mothers are in these nukes and they get the cell, or they get the eggs, which we'll see in a minute, from these. They put them into cells, they put them into starter hives, they draw the queen cells, it was put in an incubator, then those queen cells get put into a mini apidea, or that's the layman's term about it, but I'm with Nikki. Nikki, you're going to explain things a little bit better for me. So talk me through it. So the queens come here, you put them in a nuke, you start it off as a nuke, or introduce the breeder queen, you know, a very expensive queen. Would you introduce that just like you would with how I introduce a queen into a nuke?
Yeah, exactly the same way. So start off small and then let that nuke build up, and then we'll overwinter them in just one brood box, and then as it's coming spring we start to let them grow as they would in any nuke, and then we've got plenty of lay from the queen. So they're not producing any honey whatsoever, they are purely for rearing or queen production.
So once that nuke, the queen is established in the nuke, the season comes in, this is spring. What's the first process? You go around, you've got to find, I suppose, the perfect size larva?
Yeah, so it's technically under 2 millimeters is what we're looking for. So you've got to have a keen eye and you've got to have a keen hand to be steady to extract that larvae and get it into a queen cup without turning your larvae over, because you'll suffocate it. So you've got to be really good with your finger work, and you know, have a deft hand to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, that's one thing I thought that I knew when I didn't. I thought you could just put any egg or larva under 3 days old in there. It's not. So we just took a fair bit of time to find the right size eggs, or it's not eggs, eggs turning into larva. So that was really interesting, and I'll overlay that there now. So there's a real skill and you need a really good eye. I don't think I'm good enough for that job, but Ross, she found some excellent larva, and I was surprised how small they need to be, and I didn't realise about flipping the larva upside down, they drown. Yeah. That's something I didn't know either. So that's really interesting. So if anybody wants to have a go at making your own queens, make sure that you follow these tips, because it is absolutely crucial. So we take the larva, we put that into, is it cups you call it?
Yeah, it's a queen cup. So we'll show you a frame as we go through that process. But yeah, it's a queen cup. In the hive, the bees can make the right size cup for your worker bees, your drone bees, and then if they want a queen, because they think they need a new queen, then they'll create the right size queen cup.
So your cups then, that is basically the perfect size to make a queen.
Yeah.
So it's a little trick. You just don't want any kind of cell. The cell's got to be the perfect size. Make it easy for the bees to make a queen.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you have a full frame. You have multiple multiple cups on a frame.
So we'll put 30 on a frame. And then the bees decide if that is a good size larvae that we've chosen, and then they'll feed that with royal jelly, and they'll work the cup with the wax and start to build up the cell, and then we check that the next day to see how far on that's going and what's worked. So if you're getting a 80% plus success rate, you're doing really, really well.
So before we get there now, so because I'm no queen rearer, I want to learn. So we've just grafted the eggs on the frame. What kind of a hive does that frame go into? It's got to go into a hive without the queen.
Yeah. So
talk me through what's your setup here and how do you do that?
Okay, so we have newts here that are purely raisers. So it's got a queen in there. She's laying brood. It's just like a normal hive. And then we make half of the hive believe that they are queenless. So the queens, we tend to do queenless at the bottom and queen in the top. And to do that, we put in a split board, so that the bees in the bottom can't speak to each other. I'll show you a frame of how we do that. So we use a split board to make half the hive believe that it's queenless. So we buy this board from Haynes. It comes with a mesh grill already built into it, and then what we do is we get another piece of mesh and we screw that onto the other side, so that gives it that depth, so the bees can't...
You got double protection.
Double protection,
so
the bees can't talk to each other, and so the bees at the bottom think we are queenless now. So when this goes onto the hive, you've got... This will be the entrance for the bees going into the queen at the top.
Do you put this in, so say with this hive, the entrance is that way, does the entrance on that go the same way, or does it go on the back?
So that goes a reverse, so that's on the back, so that's where the queen is. So the bees will always fly round into the bottom, so you want more worker bees in the bottom of the hive to work those cells.
I get you. So I think I understand that. Let me talk to you, tell me if I'm right. So you start off, the nuke is a double brood.
Yeah.
You want to put cells or the larvae in out from the draw queen, so you split the hive in half. You put this board in, the entrance facing the opposite way to the current one, so the bees are still flying into the bottom box where the queen, where the cells are going to be. The queen you move up here.
Yes.
So she's laying and producing brood and everything up there, but now they're flying out of there.
Yes.
But they're sharing the heat. There's a huge amount of bees in the bottom, so they can bring those cells out perfectly. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
That is a very, very good system. You don't need these massive hives. As long as you've got good, healthy nukes, they're on double broods. The polystyrene works excellent. As you know, I've got a lot of polystyrene nukes myself. Really good. I can start a nuke with 2 frames of bees and they're warm enough. So, you know, this being full of bees, I can see it being a very efficient way of doing it. Let's see a frame already in one of these and see how the bees are coping with it. So we've got a grafted frame here, and Ross is going to put it now into this hive, ready for them to draw that larva out. So really strong 6-frame box in the bottom. Be very careful with the frame. Literally just being grafted. So one thing I forgot to ask, obviously there's no queen in the bottom box now, she's already been moved into the top box. How long of a time span do you need before you can drop cells in there from when the queen was moved up?
So we set the raiser hives up the day before that we graft, so they're all ready and they think they're queenless for a good period of time.
Oh, there you go. The day before, move the queen up, put the board in, next day you're ready to drop cells in. So this is one we made earlier. The cells went in here Friday, and they're going to come out Wednesday. But today's Monday, so these will be half drawn. Let's take a look. Right, Ross, I just noticed here now the split board is gone and there's a queen excluder in place. You've obviously done that on purpose. Why?
So about 24 hours after grafting, we change from the split board to the queen excluder, so the bees can freely circulate the hive, so they're still able to get up to their queen. But because they already think they needed the queen cells drawn, they thought they needed a new queen, they've already started pulling them, so they will carry on pulling those cells even though they can still get to their queen.
So basically, the queen can't tear down the cells because the queen excluder is holding it up, but now you've got the added benefit of having the 2 brood boxes feeding the cells. You get nice big well-fed cells,
Yeah.
and the bees won't take the cells down. It'll only be the queen that does that.
Yeah, the queen would, so that's why she has to be kept separate.
Well, I'm learning a lot. Hopefully you guys are too. Right, let's see these cells. Oh wow, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and they may have taken the 20. So there's 20 cells
We
in
do
there.
30, so it's another top row.
Oh, these are double rows. Well, I can't see them all. There's so many bees on there, but almost every single one I can see have been taken and they're drawing them. So I would say that's a very successful take. Is that the kind of take you tend to get doing it this method?
Yeah, so we normally get at least 25 out of 30 taken, yeah.
And you know, with these nukes now, are these all from Ivan queens? So they're the same type of bee drawing, the same?
No, not all of them. So some of them are our queens that we produced last year, and some actually might have even been some of the queens from this year that we've produced earlier on. So there is a mix of Ivan's and our own.
But everything here is buckfast.
Yeah.
And you tend to see the buckfast take is a lot better than other types of bee, or there's no doing it in this method. There's no big change.
No, so we also produce black bees for a customer out of their stocks, and we get the same takes using those as well.
So that shows that the skill is in the technique and knowing how to prepare these nukes ready to accept queens. I tell you what, I thought queen rearing was very, very complicated, and it is, but looking how the Border Honey is doing it here, it makes it feel like it's a lot more simple than it is. So there's definitely a method you've got to follow, stick to the plan, and you get the results. Is that true? Stick to the plan and it works?
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
Well, if you ask me, I think it works because I've had some queens and they're really, really good. So the frame is put back in there. Do these cells stay in here till the last minute, or do you take them out of the nuke box and you finish them off in an incubator?
So about 4 to 5 days after grafting, we'll take the cells out once they're fully capped and put them in an incubator.
Well, you know where we're going. Let's see that incubator. So here's one of the incubators, a Bryn C1. Now Ross tells me they set the thermometer around 34 and the humidity around 70, but we've just been opening and closing the door, so that it's building back up. Now you can see there's 57, but it'll be back up to 70 when we stop fiddling and opening the door. So they've got two. The cells are in there. I like how the glass, you can see right through. Alright Ross, let's have a look at some cells. Wow. Oh, and out there, look at that. So I'm guessing you had this piece of foam made up specially to fit in here?
Yeah, we did. So we had the holes put in.
So what's the difference with the colours? You got the red and the green. Are they different queens?
So these come from different breed of queens.
So the last queens I had from you, I think one was 009 and there was a 2 something, is it? Is that what these are?
These are a 001 and a 009.
Very nice. So at the height of the season, I'm guessing all these shells will be full and the box incubator next door.
Yeah, they will be, yeah.
So how long before you take these cells out? I'm guessing you put the cells into the apideas, or do you let the virgins hatch in here and put them in the apideas?
So we will, when we're first making them up, we put virgins into the, we use keeler boxes, and then once they're out in the field established, once we've picked the queen, we'll put the cells in.
So we use keeler boxes, so they're slightly larger than the apideas. So you've got a sliding bottom to it. There's your entrance. And you've got a little plastic for the lid. That's your feeder. So we put fondant in here. Put a bit of wood wool because the bees can tend to stick in there. And it just gives them something for when we put liquid feed later. We've already got a little bit of wood wool, so it takes a little bit of work out of doing the job. We have hundreds and hundreds of these little bars to do for the season. We've got over 300 boxes of mini nukes. So we melt our wax strips. So these are from putting our bigger wax foundation into the frames for the honey hives. So any offcuts, we cut them down and we use those in our mini nukes. So that's quite a time consuming job to get those in there and to have them just fixed.
Melt a bit of beeswax in and drop it in, is that how you do it?
Well, actually melt a pan, a bain-marie, so you've got water in the bottom,
yeah,
and it melts your wax at the top, and then I dip my wax strip into the melted wax, and then straight into the bar.
That's the secret.
That's how we do it. If anyone's got a better method, please tell me, because it's very time consuming. But anyway, to make sure it's sturdy and it stays in place, otherwise you get some very creative wax foundation forming in your mini nuke. And so then from that we need to shake some bees, and then we turn the boxes upside down on the truck, open the sliding door at the bottom, and then we'll be tipping some bees into here.
Right there, let's do that and find out how they look after the bees in the apidea before it goes out to site. Look at this for a beekeeping truck. The old Nordy van, the Queen rear-end mobile. 4-wheel drive. And look at that, proper off-road tyres as well. Doesn't look as good as the Ranger, but I tell you what, that is one handy beekeeping truck, especially for queen rearing. Perfect. In we go. Oh. And look at that. By the handbrake, that's the 4-wheel drive system. So you've got 4-wheel drive down for 2-wheel drive. Bog standard, but that's exactly what you need in a working truck. A lot of mini apideas.
Yep. The meadow sweeps out, so it's not very small. So yes.
The Nordy van is good off-road.
And then this middle section.
Right, we just arrived here on the mating yard, and I tell you what, first time I've ever been in a commercial mating yard. I am well impressed. We've just been for a spin in the Nordy van. We've just gone round some of them. I tell you what, there's loads down there, there's loads on here. It goes far as back as there. There's mini nukes as far as the eyes can see, and I tell you what, it is very impressive what Border Honey has done here. Really impressed. Now, to show you the full scale of the business, we're gonna shake some bees into the mini apidea, so you guys wanting to start queen rearing, you can see how it's done. So from what I understand, we're gonna shake bees from supers into the mini apideas, and what happens then. So if you put bees in these apideas, Do we just put them straight out on the stand, or what's the score? How does it work?
No, so we'll shake into these keelers, and then we'll take them back home, and they'll go into a barn, any kind of dark a building that you can make dark. It can be your shed. And then we introduce the queen, and they'll stay, so then that becomes a new mini colony, and they'll stay in the dark for 3 to 4 days, and then we bring them back out to the field, and they'll go on the stands and start working.
So the queen you put in, is she mated or is she a virgin?
She's a virgin.
So that's how all of these mini apideas are started, basically. Cup full of bees, virgin queen, they go in the dark for a few days, they come back out here, that queen mates.
Yeah.
From that point on then, you sell that queen, she's now mated.
Yeah.
Do you put virgin queens back in these mini apideas, or do you put the cells in?
We come out and we resell everything, and then we check to make sure that they've emerged from their cells, and then the whole process continues.
Wow. And during the season, say I'm guessing the first cells, they go in here end of April into May, something like that, is it? The first ones?
We start grafting around April 15th each year, and then we see how the cells are, how well they're producing in the hives at home, and then as long as the grafts are taken and they look good, then we try and start as early as we can. We've been really lucky with the weather this year because we've had quite a lot of sunshine and good temperature in May, so the field started off really well for us.
Good.
Here.
Well, I noticed we're in like a bowl here, so I mean when I get nuclears, I like being in the bowl, so you're always out the wind, and I'm guessing that's really good for queen mating. There's the wind isn't hitting these mini boxes. And
yeah, we're surrounded by trees here, and there's a brook that runs through, so we've got lots of flora, fauna, we've got the trees that the bees can work as well, and it's really sheltered. So yeah, it can be really windy on other locations, and you come down here and it's nice and calm.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what the weather's doing, you can always work here, I suppose, which is quite nice. Now I'm seeing some big hives here dotted around. What's the purpose of those big hives then? Is that for, I'm guessing, pumping up the drones then, is it?
Yeah, so these are our drone mothers, and we've got various sites in a 1.5 mile radius of this queen field. So that will give us all the drones that we need to make sure that these queens get mated really well.
And one thing I don't know, like you just said, there's over 300 mini nukes on this site, really impressive. How many queens in a season will one apidea, successfully make or mate then?
3 or 4 is an average kind of production rate.
Yeah.
Out of a single.
So it's not a huge, and that's why you need so many mini nukes to go into commercially. I mean, 10 is not gonna make it. You got to be in the hundreds.
Yeah.
It's a fair old investment this is a big field. I'm guessing this field looks like, I don't know, at least 2 acre field that you've taken over just for queen rearing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, isn't it?
It's a lot of work to keep on top of it, and people think that because they're small boxes that it's going to be quite easy to manage, but it's the same kind of management as going into a full size hive in some respects, because it's very dependent upon the weather. If it goes really cold and they're not able to get out and it's raining, then you've got to make sure they've got feed. You've got to make sure that they're not overfilling with brood and that they've got space for the queen to lay, otherwise it'll just swarm like any hive.
Yeah.
And so you think you've got queens in boxes, and then one minute you can not have queens in boxes.
So once you put the queen cell in the mini apidea, what's the time span then between you checking to see if the queen's mated, and what's the time span then once she's mated, how long before you can sell that queen?
Okay, so we'll check after 2 weeks of introducing that cell, make sure that she's flown mated and she's laying, and then we'll wait a further, it can be another 2 weeks in total, so it's a 4-week process, so that we can see that she's laying nicely and it's cat brood and it's all nice and even, and that we've got a lot of worker bees in there, and that she's not a drone layer.
And then you take the queen out, put her in a cage, maybe send it to me, wherever it goes. do you put a cell in straight away then, or within the next few days?
Yeah.
Is that how quick it turns around?
With cells, you can put them in straight away. I like to belt and brace it and put some tin foil around the cell as it's going in. Ros has other ideas. They have worked brilliantly, but you are taking a risk. And so, you know, we're producing all the time, so...
Well, there we go, boys. Very, very fascinating. Super high tech. Didn't realise there was so much to it. But I can't wait to actually see inside some of these now. Hopefully there'll be some mated ones, yeah?
Definitely.
Good. And say, you know, like in beekeeping, you know my channel, things go wrong all the time, and I'm sure not everything gets mated every time. If you go back in 2 weeks' time and there's still no eggs there, when's the cut-off point? You go, you know what, too much time has gone, we'll get rid of this one and we'll put a new cell in. Is there a time span to how much time you let the queen mate?
Yeah, we'd give it a maximum of 3 weeks from introducing that cell, because if she has flown and mated, it's probably not likely that she's mated well. If we're waiting and waiting, and you know, it means she's probably not going to be a good queen. So we would just get rid of her, unfortunately. But it's part of the process.
That happens with me. Not every nuke I make is successful, and the queens I buy in, not everyone is successful. You know, we're farming, we're dealing with nature, we're dealing with livestock, whether you're doing sheep, cows, pigs, bees, things like that happen, you know, and that's just the natural mortality rate, I suppose. It's natural survival, isn't it?
That's right. And so we want it to look the optimum that it can be as it's going out to the customer. You're dealing with nature, like you say, so you know there's a percentage where you know she can look good going out of the hive, out of the mini nuke, but until she's actually producing in the full-size hive, you don't know how well they're going to perform and how long for.
No.
So, you know, we have great success rate, great feedback from customers, and that's all you can do. Just hope that what you're putting out there has mated really well for what you're seeing in the mini.
Yeah, and you know, you're obviously starting with really good stock. You know, Ivan Nelson lines, so you know the product is good at the start.
Yeah.
You come into a nice little site like this, you're populating the site with the drones that you want. So you know you've got the whole, call it supply chain control, really. You've got the full control over it. And you know what I like about this kind of setup is this is farming in the UK. This is proper bee farming in the UK. You see me bee farming, producing nukes, producing honey, but this is another side of it. This is the queen rearing side of bee farming. And if you were to be farming, say, sheep, you got guys out there producing lambs, you got guys out there producing breeding sheep, but then you got guys out there producing rams. And I suppose this is that side of that, you know, very specialist. Not a lot of people are doing what you've done here, so you know, a huge credit to you to go into, you know, commercial queen rearing in the UK. The weather's not great, but you know, I just think British bred queens, they're probably the best out there. You know, you're taking lines in the UK, especially with the Danish lines. You know, that's why I like Denmark. The Danish queens is that's a cold country.
Yeah.
So you know, and they're coming into, you know, maybe a slightly warmer country, so you'd think they'd do a little bit better. So, you know, and that's one thing, when you do get queens from very hot countries, you know, sometimes when you get cold weather, they don't perform the best. So you know, what's nice about the British queens, especially when you take in Danish stock and then breed them in the UK, I just think that's fantastic. And, you know, more of that the UK needs, really, is people willing to get up and go and produce product, whether it's food, animals, or any kind of product, that you produce it in the homeland. And you know, that's what our country needs. And you know, fair play to you and you know, the family business you've got here, and the scale that you've built, and in a very short time as well.
Yeah,
you know, so
third year
yeah, well done.
So yeah, we went for it. You just got to go for it and do it on a scale that's going to show that what you're producing is of high quality.
Yeah, well, you know, there's three of you in the business as well, and your boyfriend helps out as well. He's that comes in.
Yeah, James works part-time for us as well.
So you know, there's well, like I said, we got to find 4 wages really to pay every month. So you know, if you're going to do something, you got to do it well, and you're doing it here. So you know, credit to you guys. If I didn't think you guys were the real deal, I wouldn't have driven up here today. So well done.
Thank you.
So out there, that's enough talking. Let's see how they set up an appidia, so you guys at home can learn as much as me. So Ross is just opening up the hive now. We're going to take some bees from the super. I'm guessing the water, you shake the frame in here now and spray a bit of water on them.
If they need it, yeah. We're going to be taking from the supers, so that means there'll be no drones in these bees. We just want the worker bees. So they'll have a little bit of honey on them, which might make them just stay in the box. But if they were particularly flighty, I'd give them, some flyers will go back anyway.
Yeah.
But a little bit of a spray of water, nothing too much, just keeps them in the box and it just keeps them calm.
And is that just water or is there a bit of sugar in there as well?
No, just water. Just water, plain water and just a small little spray.
These Langstroth boxes are nice. Partly pre-wired frames like the ones we sell or very similar. Now I just asked, is this a special box? It's actually some kind of New Zealand nuke. So it's not a special shaker box, but it does the job just nice. Very nice docile bees. You can see the honey coming off, a bit of a flow on.
Yeah. Okay. Are we going to call it that?
That's it.
Yep. So we normally shake from 3 boxes, but just for the purpose to show you how we put the bees into a mini nuke, we've just taken from 1 today. So you need to shake from 3 hives so that when they mingle together they won't fight.
I get you. It's the same when you do a nuke. Say you do a 3-frame split, you can take a frame from each, they don't fight. You can drop the queen in straight because nobody knows each other basically.
That's it.
So it's the same theory here.
Same principle. So we get a cup.
Is that a special Swainty or Carl Fritz Thomas cup? Or?
Good old-fashioned Woolworths back in the day, left over from a picnic hamper. So it's a 500ml cup to the top. So we fill 300 to 400. I like to go just a bit over 400 because the kilos are bigger. So we'll.
Yeah, these are definitely bigger than the Apidias or the swine bees.
Yeah. And so Ros is just giving them a little spray of water. It just keeps them together. And then I would just gently fill the cup like that.
Not hurting the bees.
That's about how much that I put in.
There we go. And you just put,
not harming them.
Just pour it in, then is it?
And then in they go. And close the lid.
And that's it. And
that's
the fondant's still in this from before?
Yeah, from the food.
Yeah.
It's from it's in the feeder. So it's just in there like that. So they've got the bars and they've got the fondant there. When they've eaten all the fondant and they're in the field, we'll fill that with some syrup.
Wow.
Particularly if the weather's bad.
See, it's easy when you know how, isn't it?
Yeah, easy peasy.
Yeah. I tell you what, I am learning just as much as you guys watching.
And then when we take these back home, the queen will just, in this hole here.
Ah, yeah, just run the virgin in by there then.
Yeah, run her in there and they'll be happy to see her. So they'll just sit in the dark for 3 to 4 days.
Well, there we go. That's how you set up an Apidia or a mini box ready for queen rearing. Nothing to it. Now, one thing I noticed, they've got really nice mating stands. Now, these are custom made, galvanised and stainless steel by the looks of it. Talk us through, Alex, did you make them or you've had them custom made?
So we've had the tops custom made and galvanised and they're all laser cut for us. And then the other components are all off the shelf components because it was something we wanted to be able to replicate easily and use regularly. So the way the stands work is the top is detachable from the actual upright. That means we can just bang the uprights in at the start of the season using a post rammer, like you would with a fence post and so on, and then we attach the tops afterwards as we go around. So it's simple to put together. It's quite easy to store because the stands are detachable, the tops and the base, and we can just take those back and pressure wash them off at the end of each season, ready for use the next season.
So that's one thing I was going to ask. So every spring you put you set the site up and then you've got to take everything back, or do you leave the stands in place?
That's correct. So we rent this particular site for the season, and we have to leave the site clean at the end of the season. So all the stands come with us, all the boxes come with us at the end of the season. Everything gets thoroughly cleaned up and sterilised, ready for use again the following season, and we set it out in the spring from scratch.
And I suppose with this kind of stand, that's easy to do. It's all steel, there's no wood to rot. You can take them off just as easy. And, you know, just like a parlet system, you know, this is how I keep my nukes. This entrance is pointing this way, that door that way, that door that way. And if you wanted a fourth one, you got that one that way. And the colours, do you think that's important? Because you got different colour codes about the place. Is that important factor, or can they all be the same colour?
Well, certainly when we've got so many, effectively over 300 colonies of bees in the same field, we need the queens to find the way back when they're out on their mating flights to their hives. So anything we can do to enhance that is a good thing. Colours and mixed colours of hives is one thing that we do so that the queen would recognise the particular colour, but orientation as well. So as well as the hives being compass points on the stand, all our stands are at different angles. We don't have long, straight, neat rows. They're randomly placed and randomly configured in terms of which way those stands face.
There you go, very, very impressive. Right, let's see inside one. Hopefully lay in. All those eggs. Okay, let's take a look at another frame. Alright, I've got the colour pollen in there. Honey on the top, eggs in the middle, pollen. Same there. Lovely. Lovely temperament to these bees too. Ooh, nice seal brood. So is this the kind of, what the type of typical frame you're looking for basically? Bit of honey on the top. And that's what I like about the Danish bees is everybody loves to see a frame top to bottom with brood. I like to see the honey band round the frame. I think those bees survive in the UK a lot better, especially the kind of springs we have in our where starvation is becoming a problem. Bees that do that don't tend to starve out so easy. No queen yet.
No, not seen the queen yet.
So that's the cell. So the cell was just put in like that. I was thinking that the cell was just sat in the plastic hole in the top.
You can do, but
There she is.
prefer to put it actually in the frame.
Wow, look at that, what a beauty. What a beauty. Now that's the colour markings I like on a buckfast. I like to see the black in them. Not just a golden bullet. I like to see that pattern in them. She's a lovely queen. Look at that. There we go, freshly mated border honey queen. Whoever gets that queen is going to be lucky. There you go, so that's ready to be picked and shipped and sold, is it?
Yeah, so that'll be going out this week.
So this is the note taking, very similar to what I do. So they've got the date there where they expect the queen is ready to be picked, and then the number of the breeder queen, 344. So once you pick the queen now, Ross, then obviously that nuke will be queenless.
Yeah.
How do you know when you come back here that needs a queen? Do you write on the lid or?
So we'll just put a tick next to it to say that we've took her and cross out the date and what she was. So then we know it's now queenless. So we'll come back to that and pop a cell in.
There you go, pick the queen up, lovely.
The queen.
You've obviously done that before a few times.
Hundreds. Okay, so we're going to get some of the younger bees off the frames from the hive that she's been in.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it like that. You can prepare your cages at home. We like to do it in the field, but they have been very propolis. Had a lot of propolis on the frame, so it's been made it a bit slower. So we have made some cages at home, but you can do either. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to mark her now.
Yeah.
I like to work away from where we've taken the queen from and try and stay away from the bees. And then just make sure my pen's nice. Perfect.
There we go. And is that the special pen you're using?
Well, it is an oil-based. I think it's an oil-based.
Edding. There you go. Because I know if I don't say that, there'll be comments. What pen did they use? So I foresaw that question.
Yeah.
There
So
we go.
go for a light green.
Marked perfect. Ready to go in the cage.
So we're looking for the younger bees, a bit more fluffy, and we normally use about 8 to 10 in a cage.
I like seeing lots of bees in the cage when I get them. You just know that queen has been well looked after during the transit period. But what's nice about the British bred queens, like this queen now, is she's been picked today, she's been shipped today, so the customer will have it tomorrow. That is basically, when you look at like food miles, that queen hasn't been in transit for a long time at all. And I'm sure the less amount of time queens spend in cages in transit, the better they are, and they last a lot longer. I haven't got proof for that, but I've heard lots of beekeepers saying that the less amount of time the queen spends in transit in the cage, the better that queen's going to be.
So there you are. So that's got 8 worker bees in it now. So that's all ready for the queen.
And here's the queen, ready to go in with her attendants.
Paint has dried up nice
Paint
now.
should be dry by now. It's been a couple of minutes.
Here's where it can all go wrong.
And in she goes. Whoa, nearly. It's you saying that, Grim.
The pressure of YouTube.
And then I'll just wait for them to get their legs out the way. And then close it up.
There we go. And is that a special kind of fondant you've put in there, or is it just basic bee fondant?
It's just a basic bee fondant.
Well, there we go. You have seen how a commercial honey farm makes queens on a commercial scale. We've gone from grafting the egg to how the starter cells work out in the mating yard, and we've got the finished product right there. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've had a real treat here today. Hopefully you've learned a lot as well. So there we go, just picked these. These are going off to a customer. 10 queens, 001 and 009s. 009s, that's what I had last week. Little slip talking about Border Honey, and here is why you should buy their queens. Good temperament, low swarming, superb honey gathering, resistance to disease, calm behaviour on the comb, where we saw all that just now, and you just don't see any sack or chalk with these types of queens. Really good. So whoever is getting that, tell you what, you got some good queens, mate. Right, pack them up and we'll drop them in the post office on the way back. You can't get fresher queens than that. 12 is the maximum you can fit in that envelope?
Yeah, 12. And then the smaller package is 6. So sometimes we double up the packages for the big orders. And then we'll have... So make sure there's plenty of airspace around the side.
There you go, yeah.
And then a dress on the front.
There you go, I won't film that because we don't want GDPR causing us no problems. For the Gwyn and Griff channel. Well, thank you very much, Alex. Thoroughly enjoyed seeing the commercial setup and how queens get, I suppose, made and farmed on a massive commercial scale. A credit to you and the team for doing a fantastic job. Now, tell everybody here now, because everybody's going to be watching this video thinking, hey, I'd like to try some of these British bred queens. What do you sell? Is it only mated queens do you sell, and where is the best place for people to go to buy them?
Okay, so we sell mated queens through our website, borderhoney.com, and you can book by the week on there throughout the season. In the winter you can pre-order for the following season. So that's where we manage all our mated queen sales through. We do also provide virgin queens and cells by special arrangement with some minimum orders applying on those. For those, just give one of the team a call via the numbers on the website and we'll sort you out.
And I'm doing something today for the first time ever. I've actually pre-ordered some cells, because I was talking to a good friend of mine, David. That's how he does his nukes. He puts cells in instead of mated queens. And I thought, well, it'd be rude coming up all this way and not taking some cells back with me. So I've got some cells, and I've hired a carry cell with you as well, so I've got to send that back tomorrow so I can keep the cells warm. I may get some in tonight, but they'll probably go in tomorrow morning, so we're going to see how they go. I've never done it before, never done nukes up with cells, so we're going to have a go at that. And before I go, can I show people the honey house you've got?
Of course you can, you're welcome to have a quick look. Yeah.
So the first time I ever came here, Alex had built this new honey house, and it was the nicest honey house setup I've ever seen. It's basically a Carl Fritz showroom in there, but there's big plans coming. I won't share it with you, but things have been changing there, and we'll probably have to come back and film that to show you a new setup which Alex is, well, Border Honey is putting in there in the future. Well, let's have a look, and we'll get these cells, and I better make my way back. So here we are. They've built a building inside a building, totally insulated. Border Honey does everything in barrels. So some of the spring honey, what's left for people to come and collect, and into the honey house. And look at this for a Carl Fritz setup. Fully automatic uncapping machine.
It is, yeah.
Look at the grade of this and pipes. Now I saw this years ago when this was brand new. Frames get fed in here into this massive sump. I don't know if you can see how big that sump is, but that is big. And then the extractor, what was it, Alex?
32 frame extractor.
32 frame extractor, spin everything out, and the honey then is pumped from in there into barrels. Or does it go through the second tank first?
Not when we're packing into barrels, but what we do is we also pack into buckets by weight. So we use the settling tank as a way of tapping off into buckets. There
you go. So 300 kilo. That's basically a drum of honey there, and you can fill buckets at the bottom. That's the pump there. Very effective honey setup, and I know Alec, well, Border Honey, you know, they do several ton a year, and they are doing it with this system here. But they have got something new en route, which hopefully we can show when you get it in the future.
Certainly, you're welcome back anytime, Griff.
There we go. Right, let's get those cells. So there's my cells in the carry cell. Oh yeah.
We'll put them in the middle so they've got a nice
big ones for your favourite South Walian beekeeper.
Yeah, all really nice size.
And when should these be hatching out now? What day?
I'm trying to think. Was grafted on Saturday, so they'll be Thursday.
So get these in tomorrow, be plenty of time.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. We'll see how these go. Well, that's it. That's the video done at Border Honey. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and you've learned a lot more. I'm going to head home, get those queen cells in. See you in the next video.